Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever's true, whatever's honorable, whatever's just, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever's commendable, if there's any excellence, circle excellence. If there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think, circle think about these things, which you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice, circle practice. Practice these things, and the God of peace will be what? Will be with you. And I've said this for the last couple of weeks, that we're in the series called Whatever, if you're brand new to this, and I'm breaking this verse apart. Whatever's true, whatever's honorable, whatever's noble, all these things, we're taking it week by week. Because our culture has lost the idea of what even truth is, or what loveliness is. And this week we're going to take a look at something that you've heard your whole life, but you may have zero idea how to apply it. And it comes right out of the Bible. Leadership seminars steal it. You'll read a leadership book or whatever on, New York Times bestseller, and you're like, wow, this is amazing principles. It's literally comes right out of Scripture because it's from God, because God's the ultimate leader. And leadership principles are literally just how God has built us as humans. One of these aspects is excellence. You hear about it all the time. Excellent, do excellent work, be excellent, blah, blah, blah. And we think we know what that means, like excellent, I guess that means like do good-er than I am doing. But we're gonna break it apart. I'm gonna teach you actually what the biblical version of excellence is, and I hope it transforms your life. So if you got your notes, pull them out. They should be in the bulletin that you got as you walked on campus, if you're on campus. If you're online, wherever you're watching us at in the world, at the top of the comments section on Facebook is a link. Click on that link and my notes will pop up. And number one is this: God is excellent. I'm gonna lay a foundation. Ready? Where do we even get the idea of excellence from? It's actually from God. And what does it mean that God is excellent? Let's look at it. At the beginning of creation, God built the universe by speaking it into existence. So if you've been around my preaching very long, if you've been around a couple years or whatever, or even a couple weeks, you'll know that I always start at the start. I always start at the start. Some of you guys have never even, before you came to this church, had never even touched the book of Genesis. I hammer the life out of the first book of the Bible because it literally teaches us where we fit in the program. Ready? This universe doesn't belong to you. The earth doesn't belong to you. Your own house doesn't belong to you. Your body you live in that you manically want to control doesn't even belong to you. Literally everything is created by God. Your own body, your soul that animates you is given to you by God. Everything is a creation of God's grace and his love for you. The world you get to enjoy, when you walk outside, if there's no fog, and see the stars, maybe up in Big Bear or whatever, and you see how everything's designed and the razor's edge of precision that the universe is held together with by the laws of physics. You look inside your cells, literally we mapped the human genome, and you see the RNA and the DNA. You literally have a chemical alphabet in the genes of your body. And you look inside and you go, who designed this stuff? Like a person didn't. Like literally when you look in the universe and you look at your own body, it should just fill you with amazement that somebody built this. And Scripture says this: God built everything by speaking it into existence. He didn't have to wait around billions of years for things to morph and change. No, he builds things up and running. God isn't a dysfunctional creator. He doesn't have to rely on things morphing from one version to the next. Oh, now I'm here. Why don't you just build it up and running if you're God? And that's exactly what Scripture says he did. Understand, ready? When God builds things, he builds it with excellence. God doesn't build dysfunction. He doesn't build destruction. He doesn't build death. He builds life and perfection. Everything God does, he gives his best to it. He never phones it in. He doesn't do halfway. He doesn't start a project and give up. What God does, he does well. He does to the best of his ability, which happens to be perfect. Scripture says this about the true God. When there was nothing, God spoke it into existence. He starts the universe and builds it, and he builds everything with excellence. We literally get our idea of, wow, that's really excellently done from God. If you think about the most mundane things, think about this chair, which happens to be a perfect shade of chartreuse, I might add. When you think about this chair, you look at it and you go, that's a pretty nice designed chair. It goes up and down, has hydraulics. Like somebody thought of this chair, spins this way, goes up and down, left and right. Pretty well done. It's got a little squishy pad for my butt so I can sit on it when I'm tired of preaching. Like it's a pretty nice chair. But you have to think, somebody put that together. Somebody got on a CAD machine and got a CAD file open and laid this whole thing out. And then they went to a manufacturer, and the manufacturer read the plans and got the metal for it and got the vinyl and everything. And some mind put this thing together. And when you look at things that are well done, you go, man, good job. I don't even have to know who built it. I don't even have to know who sat down at the computer at the CAD machine and came up with the design. I don't have to know who stitched this. I don't have to know who put this whole thing together. To know when I look at the product, I go, dude, that's nice. That blesses my life because my butt sits in it and it likes it. Like that is a blessing to my life. Why? Because it's well designed. It's done with excellence. It's not a perfect chair, but God doesn't expect perfection of action. He expects excellence of action, which means this: you go above and beyond the mundane. Because listen, the blessing of life is in excellence, not in the mundane. Literally, a product gives praise to its creator. And I don't even know who the creator is of this chair, but it blesses my life. Same thing with the universe, same thing with your body. You don't even have to know God to go, man, somebody built this sweet spot. And that's exactly, the product shows the excellence of God. Here's our principle. God always does things with excellence to the best of his ability, which also happens to be perfect. So we will never be perfect, but we can be excellent. God is both. God is perfect and excellent. But I will never be perfect, but I can be excellent. So watch, ready? I'm gonna tie this together. If God is excellent and I know God, I should be working to be excellent too. If God always does things with excellence and perfection, I can't be perfect, but I know I can strive to be excellent. In fact, literally in the word excellent is the word excel. So when we say we excel at something, it means I go beyond the normative to get better. I go beyond the mundane for better things. I go from the good to the great. Everybody can do good, but few people can do great. So even in the word excellent is excel. It goes from here, we excel into here, which is this is excellent. This is not excellent. This is just living. But this is excellent, and we excel to that. That's what it means to be excellent, to go from here to here. And God always does that in everything that he does. Excellence is the highest and best of something. God not only built the world with excellence, but also acts in the world with excellence. This means that God always acts in accordance with his character, which is also perfect. So God's character is perfect, his actions are perfect, the things he does in the world is perfect, and he does it with excellence. So sometimes I'll hear this. Oh, how is your excellent God so excellent that now I have cancer? My dad died. Things were done to me when I was younger that shouldn't have been done. And there's no justice for me. So where's your God now? Where's the excellent God when my life's all screwed up? That's a great question. And I want to help you with that. Ready? All the death and dysfunction and despair that's in the world isn't from God. So let me help. Sin is a result of what brings about the worst in our life. The sin in my life affects you. Because I'm a sinful person that doesn't do things right all the time. It affects you and it affects myself. The poison of sin in my life affects me and others. Same thing with you toward me, toward everybody else. The sin in our lives makes our lives worse. So the judgment of God on sin, when humanity sinned, brought about death and destruction and despair. So that's not on God, that's on humanity that we love our sin. So cancer, when people act evil, that isn't on God. God created everything pre-sin with excellence. If you were to look at your body pre-sin, you'd go, that's pretty sweet. How many of you guys are over 32? Okay, so there's a few old heads in here. The first service was like, they were all old heads. They're like, they couldn't even get their arm up because it was so old. They're like, I am. You know, the first service, like the people like the ancients from like, they get up at like, dark 4:30 or whatever. Like by 8 o'clock, they already have a half day of work in, you know, that kind of thing. So listen, you know in your body, as you start to get older, your body goes, we can't do everything that we used to do. I'm speaking in the plural. We can't do everything we used to do. So now if you're in your teens or your 20s in here, you know, your body's like at its prime optimum age range of like, I'm gonna drink a Red Bull, I'm gonna keep going this whole week, I'm not gonna sleep, I'm gonna kill aliens and do all kinds of stuff. But you hit about 32, 35 and your body goes, we're gonna need a few more Red Bulls to keep going this week. You start needing glasses and you start needing these other things and your mind goes, hey, let's do that thing because we can do it. Your body goes, no, we're not gonna do that. So the point I'm making is, if you were to look at yourself, if you could rewind back to Adam and Eve pre-sin, you'd go, the body is ideal, the world is ideal, there's no death, there's no cancer, there's no evil, it's glorious. You wanna know why? Because God built everything with excellence. So sin and the results of it aren't on God. That's just a result of because we're sinful people, we screw up the world. I want to be clear about that. The bad things in the world aren't on God. He built things with excellence at the beginning. It's sin that destroys things, not God. Look at this. The virtue of God always chooses the highest and best in a given situation because of his internal character. And here's our principle. God both creates and interacts with excellence. Why? Because he is excellence. The reason we know what excellence is because God is this. I'm hammering this point home because I want you to understand this. Excellence isn't something that came out of a Simon Sinek book or something on the New York Times bestseller where John Maxwell and like, oh my gosh, look at these gurus of leadership. And like, I can't believe it's like, they're talking about excellence. I'm so glad somebody thought of it. It comes literally right out of the character of God. God does things with excellence. He doesn't do garbage. He doesn't make trash. He makes things excellently to the best of his ability, which is perfect. Which leads to number 2. Number 1, God is excellent. Number 2, I should strive for excellence. Uh-oh. Everybody get ready. Could get a little bumpy. Put your belt on. Everybody ready? I should strive for excellence. Ready? Here's our chain of thought. God is perfect. I can't be perfect, but God does things with excellence. Can I do excellent work? I absolutely can. I will never be perfect, but I can go from here to here in the way I live my life, in the way I interact, in the work I do. When I talk about phoning it in, I'm using a colloquialism, which means this. I say I'm going to do something, but I don't do it. I give half an effort. I'm all talk and no do. That's what phoning it in means. So when I use that, if that's not clear to you, that's what it means. Like you just pick up the phone and you go, yeah, I'm totally going to get around to that, and you never do. Or you could do some work, but you'd rather talk about it than actually do it. Some of you guys are like that. Hey, you know what? It'd be great if somebody mowed the lawn. Mowing the lawn would be great. And the grass is like, brrr. Somebody go mow the lawn then. That's what it means. Phoning it in just means I'm going to talk about it and not be about it. So God asks me to be excellent. When Paul says, think about the things that are excellent. Ready? When Paul says, think about things that are excellence, people should be thinking about your life. Because excellent things aren't just something out there, it's concrete things. When Paul says, think about excellent things, think about people in your life that are excellent right now. Who's excellent in your life? Some of us might not even be able to think of many people who are like, I don't know, my dog is pretty excellent. Think about excellent people. When you think of, if you can find people in your mind that are excellent, I want you to think about what makes them excellent to you. Probably hard work or sacrifice, or they always turn out good quality of whatever they're doing. They're friendly, they're loving. Listen to me, excellence is a high value to you. You just probably don't even think about it. And guess what? When people think of you, how do they think of you? Do they think of you as being excellent? When people think of you as a mother, do they think she's an excellent mother? She's an excellent wife. Do they think of you as a man? That's an excellent father. You're an excellent husband. Kids. Listen to your parents. I'll do a parenting seminar at some point, but ready? When your friends, if you're a kid in your home, when your friends are hanging out with you, do they view you as an excellent friend? Do they view you as excellent? Doing things that God wants. Listen to me. Your life should resemble God. I can't be perfect, but I can be excellent, which means I don't phone it in. As a wife, as a husband, as a kid, as a student, whoever you are, whatever life stage you're in, are you doing your best? Are you doing your best with what God gave you? If you're a student, stop cheating, man. Use the brain God gave you. Study hard. Become a better man, become a better woman, become a more functional side of our society. You know what's been really sad is everybody's been getting checks from the government and employers can't even get people to come work for them. Let me help you with something. Ready? Get off your stinking butt and get a job. If you get money from our government, awesome. Good for you, because our government's awesome. It's one of the greatest places to live in the history of humanity. But don't take that check all the time and go play Halo for the rest of the day. Go get a stinking job and support yourself, support your family, support this church, support this community, support other people. You can't support other people when get a job. Okay? Listen to me. I'm being serious, and here's the reason I say that. You know the reason I say that is because God built you for more than sitting on your butt watching Netflix and playing video games and calling it like, I work so hard. No, you know what? You're built for more than that. You're built for excellence. So go use yourself, use the gifts God given you to go do something in the world, productive. Be great. Let people see the greatness of God in you. How can they see the greatness of God in you when you're like, oh, I just killed that guy. No, the other building. No, don't blow me up. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Okay, good. Ready? Here it is. I'm picking on video games, but it could be for anything. Use yourself for the glory of God. And you know how people see Jesus in you, sadly, the most? Is how you interact in the world. Understand, think about the people you work with, or if you're retired now, think of people you used to work with. Think about the people that work the hardest, and you respected them. You're like, dude, that chick works the most. That guy works the hardest. And think about the people that just phoned it in, people that left you to do the rest of their work because they just collected a paycheck. You didn't respect them. If they invited you to church, you'd be like, are you even gonna be there? Am I gonna sit by myself? So understand this. What I'm talking about here isn't some like mythical, like, I don't know, this is like some churchy teaching. This is literally God's character in you in the world. That's what excellence is. Ready? Here it is. A Christian's life should be worthy of praise so that its excellence can be noticed and emulated. Look at, I told you in Philippians 4:8, I told you to circle excellence. Look at that word. The Greek word for excellence that Paul uses there it has masculine overtones. It means like virtue. It means like the best of a man. It means like a guy that's like gonna go die because of something he believes in. It has the idea of, it's sometimes translated manliness. So when it says whatever is excellent, think about these things. The word picture there, if you were a Greek 2,000 years ago, is basically this. There's a guy that could just do nothing, but instead he exerts himself as much as he can to get more work done or to fight harder. It's a picture of watching a man who could just bail, but fights all the way through. That's the word picture of excellence here. It means he could do nothing, but he does excellent. He excels, he goes forward. So when Paul talks about, think about excellent things, he's talking about like, this is real world, like in the dirt, do something. Do something with what God gave you so that other people notice and they go, man, God must be real because man, you work hard. You do well. Here's our principle. The excellence of Christ in you should translate to the excellence of Christ through you. Woo-hoo-hoo! Bam! Preach on it, Pastor. I will. Thank you. Dude, look at that. That's the whole sermon synopsized in one sentence. The excellence of Christ in you. Am I a follower of Jesus? Yes. Okay. Then I should emulate my God, who always does things well. The Christ in me should translate to the excellence of Christ through me. There is no world where you're a Christian and nobody knows it. We live in a weird culture where for like the last 100 years, you could kind of be a Christian because you said a prayer one time 100 years ago and Jesus is never shown through you. That doesn't even exist in the Bible. True Christianity blows through you because you're changed by Jesus. It doesn't mean you're perfect. It just means like I'm striving to be better than I was. And part of that is doing things with excellence. Jesus in me should be Jesus through me. How many of you guys have ever been on a plane? 6 people. You guys need to get out more. So I was just on one. I just was on a plane out of San Diego. I always get the window seat. One person's with me, okay? So for the 27, 8-ish years I've been married, literally every time my wife and I have gone on a trip, I always take the window seat. And the reason I love to get the window seat is because I will be one of the first people to know when we're going down. And I'll tell everybody in my aluminum can, you better get saved because we're gonna be seeing Jesus soon. So I love to sit at the window. And this was no exception. So we're a 3-person family. It's me, my wife, and my son, Caleb, who's 21 now. And so we went on the plane in San Diego as we're taxiing down the runway. If you know anything about planes, all the fuel is held in the wings. So it's full of jet fuel, which is some of the most explosive combustible things that humans have ever made. Literally, you are flying in a bomb. Every time you get on a plane, just realize, I'm in a bomb. And I'm not joking, you're literally in a bomb. So all the jet fuel, if you know anything about planes, is held in the wings, which is why they're super heavy. And the most stress on a plane is during takeoff and landing. But the most is during takeoff because it's dealing with literally tons of fuel in the wings. So I like to sit at the window. And this particular trip, I was in the emergency exit. And so I'm right over the wings. And as we're taxiing down the runway, I'm watching these wings full of jet fuel bounce. And then right as they're taking off, I just see them go, "Aah!" They weren't sounding like that, but I was thinking that they were sounding like that. Just huge stress and strain as the thing's pulling, jet fuel and everybody's fat butts up into the sky. It's like struggling to get off the ground. And you know what I realized? As I'm looking out the window, it's a true story. Every time I fly, I appreciate my life. I look out the window and I see about 4,000 rivets. The little rivets that hold all the metal panels together. It's literally how the plane flies. It's literally how you stay alive. It's because some guy at Boeing went like 4,000 times on a wing. Now watch, I wasn't there the day that a guy at Boeing put that wing together. I wasn't there. There was a day that some guy went, and what I'm hoping is that it wasn't on like a Friday afternoon before a 3-day weekend, and he's like talking to his bro, hey, I don't know, I'm going to the river. It's gonna be, I missed one, who cares? I'll get it Tuesday when I'm back at work. You know what? What I realized was, I wasn't there. I have total faith that some guy did excellent work to keep me alive. That he didn't phone it in when he was putting those rivets on there and just goes, we don't need all these rivets, or that one's not necessary, or I'm too tired to get this thing done, or whatever. Like literally, I needed somebody who was gonna do excellent work to make sure the plane got to where it was going. I stake my life on a dude I've never even met, that he did the excellent work to keep hundreds of people alive as we flew. And we flew across the Pacific, landed on a little exploded volcano in the middle of the Pacific called Hawaii. And so we land on this little rock, dink. And I appreciated the excellence of whoever put that plane together. But I tell you something that I was more impressed by. Every time I go on vacation, I go to church. Because ironically enough, as a pastor, I don't get to go to church very often and sit out there, literally maybe once or twice a year. But every time I go to Maui, I always go to the same church. It's the Calvary Chapel that meets on the beach in Kaanapali. And because maybe you guys have heard of it, it's a thing called COVID. Maybe you haven't heard of it. It went around the world this last year. No, you guys haven't heard of it? Okay. So it affected Hawaii, and they're kind of really psychotic about COVID stuff, which understandably, they're on an island. And so I wanted to go to church, the same church I've always been to. And we started to drive up the road, and I couldn't see any signs. There was no signs for the church, which I thought was weird because it was supposed to start at 10:30. So we Googled, and it said, church is at the park, but at 10:30, but it gave the address of the main building where they held their other service, their main sanctuary service. So we're like, well, that's weird. So we're like, hey, we're gonna be a little bit late, but we'll make it to 10:30 service. We drive to the building, and that pastor is coming out of the sanctuary, and we meet him as we're heading into sanctuary, and he goes, are you guys coming to church service? We're like, yeah, we think we're late. And he goes, well, we're gonna go do the service at the park. I'm like, okay, well, we didn't see any signs or whatever. And he goes, no, just follow me over there. So we went over there, and he's been doing this service about 12 to 15 years in this park. And every time we've been there, it's been 50, 100 people or whatever. It's just awesome. And we show up there, we're bringing our own chairs, and who you see in this picture is the amount of people that were at that service. It was literally my family and him. And the reason for that is this: the government shut down all public meeting spaces. So what he decided to do was, I'm not gonna stop preaching the gospel. I'm just gonna set up in the park, and whoever wants to come hear me can just come sit down and hang out. Because it's an open park. You can stand up and speak and do whatever you wanna do there. So understand that for this last year, that pastor at the Calvary Chapel there in Kaanapali has been setting up in preaching at the park regardless if anybody shows up or not. And on this particular Sunday, his church was 4 people. It was my family. And it's funny because as he was preaching, he'd always preach to his right because nobody's on his left. It's just us. And the reason I tell you that is this. You want to know a guy that could have had some excuses to not do church? You want to know a guy that could have literally come up with 500 excuses to go, it's too hard, we can't, blah, blah, blah. Listen to me. Excellence is found when you fight through difficulty. You want your marriage to get better? Then fight through the difficulty and dysfunction of your marriage and work on being an excellent wife. Work on being an excellent husband. You want to keep your job? Then work on being an excellent employee. You want to have an excellent business? Then work on being an excellent owner to the people who work for you. I was so emotional about this guy that's literally preaching to almost nobody that after the service, I just want to go, because I've been going there for years, I know him. I just want to say I love you. I just want to say thank you for persevering to do excellent work when nobody's there, when nobody cares, when literally no one sees you but God and some turtles in the water. And so he comes up to me because I was just trying to love on him a little bit. And I go, hey, thank you for not giving up. Thank you. You could have an excuse. Everybody has an excuse, but you made results rather than excuses. And I want to honor you for that. And he looked at my hat because I'm wearing a whatever hat from this series. And he goes, that's a sweet hat. He goes, where can I buy one? I said, literally, you can't buy one in the whole world because they're all sold out. And so I gave him mine. And so I gave him my hat. And so now the Calvary Chapel guy in Conopoli is wearing a hat. So he's wearing our whatever hat. And I said, don't sell it on eBay because I might buy it back from you. Because they're that rare. But I want to make this point. Listen to me. Ready? Pay attention. If you want to talk excellence, you have to talk about this. There's going to be hard times. People are going to bail on you. It's going to be difficult. Worldwide pandemics are going to happen. Things that are outside of your control are going to happen to your life. We live in a culture of excuses. My dad did this. I didn't have a dad. This thing happened. Everybody hates me. People at the work, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Life is hard for everybody. I could make 4,000 excuses for not doing stuff and not getting up in the morning. The issue isn't, do you not have problems? The issue is, do you have a desire to serve God with excellence or not? Because problems are going to come, difficulties are going to come, but it's not that difficulties won't come, it's that you have to trust the God to get you through difficulty, and it happens to be your attitude and your effort that will bring excellence out of your life to make it actually valuable in this world. Listen to me. Ready? For the believer, there is no sacred or secular work. For the believer, there's no sacred or secular work like I'm going to my secular job. That doesn't exist. All work believers do is sacred, even in the secular world. As a believer's time on earth is limited, laziness is unacceptable to God. Believers are not to just work, but work to the best of their ability for God's glory. And here's my principle. Excellence fights mediocrity. We live in a culture where you can just phone it in and be mediocre and people go, you did your best. No, you didn't. We want people to pat ourselves on the back because we played some video games all day and ate pizza. Like, you really shot those aliens, son. Good job. All the gamers are over here to my right. Awesome. Listen to what I'm saying. Ready? You could literally waste your whole life online and do nothing in the world. We just live in that culture. And I want to encourage you, lovingly as your pastor, don't waste your life. Serve God with excellence. Do your work with excellence because God is excellent. I'm also a coach in this valley. I'm a football coach at one of the high schools here. As you can probably tell from my preaching, I'm a little bit coachy. Get in there, son. Ready? Sometimes we'll have rock star athletes. Some of them you would know. I've coached some guys that play on Saturdays at colleges that got full rides. Sometimes people look at the rock stars on the football team, like other kids will look at them and go, man, they're awesome. We're gonna win because Johnny's on the team or whatever. And you know what's sad? Is sometimes when that 4 or 5 star athlete just loafs and doesn't give his best, We see it in professional leagues all the time. Don't think this, if I make more money, then I'll really try harder. If I got paid more, I'd do a better job. No, you wouldn't. You know how you'll do a better job? Better job doesn't come from your paycheck. Better job comes from inside. You know the fastest way to a better paycheck is do a better stinking job. That's why you see athletes making millions that just phone it in, or they loaf around, or they're mad about their contract or whatever, and they don't try really hard, and they're blah, blah, blah. You go, how can you have a bad attitude, man? You literally play with a ball for millions of dollars. That's like a dream come true. How can you have a bad attitude? I'll tell you how. It's because when you start thinking about yourself more than God. And you know what? On the days that we lose some of those rock stars, I'm glad. Because it's better for the health of the team to lose somebody, even if they're really talented, if they're not going to be there at the end. Let me help you. I hope this changes your life. You know how excellence happens? Don't phone it in and be there till the end. Doing half a job doesn't get you excellence. Not finishing the job doesn't get you excellence. Finish the job. In ministry, on a team, at your work, at school, finish the job. We live in a bail culture. Bail on my wife, bail on my husband, bail on his job, bail on this, bail on ministry. I got a better job here, I got a blah, 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 whatever. Dude, finish the stinking job. If you're called to mission, man, be on mission. It doesn't matter how talented you are if you're not there at the end. If you're married, be there till you're dead. How you like them apples? We live in a culture like, no, you burn the toast, chick, I'm out. No, you be there till the end. Excellence matters. Which leads us to number 3, lastly, ready? I should focus on the excellent. Believers are to concentrate on the things in life that God views as excellent. Biblical excellence is not just doing things well, but doing the right things well. Look at this. I'm gonna give you a little science up in here like I do almost every week. Who knew? The Bible and science, it's almost a thing. Ready? This is equilibrium. Pay attention to me and I'm done. This is equilibrium. You know what equilibrium is? Equilibrium is the idea that inside any environment, things will either degrade temperature-wise to the same temperature over time. So if you were outside our atmosphere and it's 250 degrees below zero or whatever, your body, if it doesn't get more energy put into it, will freeze to that temperature. If you get closer to the sun, your body will heat up to that until it disintegrates. So inside here, let's say the temperature in this room is 70 degrees. This water is 70 degrees. This literally represents just being alive. That's you just going to your job and phoning it in. That's you just not putting any energy as a wife into your marriage. That's you as a husband not putting any energy into your marriage as a husband. That's you just going, we just exist. Watch, the way you fight equilibrium, the way you fight normative, the way you become excellent, you excel, is to actually put effort in. And these ice cubes represent effort. It's things you don't have to do, but if you do them, it will affect your life. Literally, the value of what you do for God will be raised. God, you'll be more usable for God. People will see God in you. The more effort you put in, the better your life becomes. And the ice cubes representing effort literally raise the value of your life. You feel more productive. You feel like God's using you. You feel when you go to bed at night and you lay your pillow on the head, you go, I did great work today. It mattered that I was alive. That doesn't come from some magical world. Or you doing some drugs, going, I just want to feel better. Literally put your hand to the plow and do excellent work. If you're a stay-at-home mom, make your house excellent. If you're a go-to-work mom, make your work excellent. If you're a man, go to work. Literally, when you do effort, listen to me, excellence has value for everything. You know what these ice cubes are doing? They're raising the level of mediocrity, of equilibrium, and they're actually changing the water. Ice cubes are fighting equilibrium. They're fighting mediocrity because they're changing the temperature of the water. The water's actually becoming colder right now. Why? Because the ice cubes are part of it. The way you fight mediocrity in your life is you got to put effort in. You have to become the man or woman of God so that you can do great things for God. Mediocrity gets you nothing. Effort blesses your life. You want your life to be blessed by God? I would love to be blessed by God. Awesome. Then put effort in. Learn God's word and apply it. Love your wife, love your husband, love your kids. Kids, listen. Do things. You'll be amazed when you do these things that the God of peace will be with you. That's what scripture promises. Ready? Here it is. We will never be perfect, but we can be excellent. We will never be perfect, but we can be excellent. I want to be an excellent husband to my wife. I want to be an excellent father to my son. I want to be an excellent pastor. I work hard on these sermons. I could phone it in. I want you guys to understand something. Literally, I have 1,000 reasons to just phone it in. This last year, I got pressure from the government and people and whatever, did not have the church open and blah, blah, blah. We took a lot of heat. But I tried to do both. I said, let's be safe. And if you have health issues or whatever, we will do excellent online stuff. So you can still worship from home. Want to bless you, be home. But for those that want to be on campus and are okay with it, I want to make that open for them too. So we try to do both and to be safe and to allow people to worship God the way they're designed. And you know what? We took a little bit of heat for that, but I can tell you one thing. God has blessed this church because we tried to love people in every aspect rather than just going, let's not open the doors at all. Literally, some churches just opened a month ago. They've been closed for a year, and I'm going, what have you been doing? That's not excellent. You got to fight through difficulties sometimes to make sure people feel loved. And feeling loved many times comes from face to face, hearing the words of God. We can never be perfect, but we can be excellent. So put effort into your life this week and watch God bless it.